to my course on effective requirements gathering. In this course, we will go through the techniques and approaches for writing effective requirements gathering documents. We will also understand how to gather the necessary inputs and elaborate on the available information using a variety of techniques. So welcome to my course and happy learning. Requirements gathering is always an iterative process. This means that whatever approach you take for gathering requirements, we will always need to revisit it to improve it further and make it accurate. Let's look at the steps required for requirements gathering. Identify stakeholders. Start by identifying the key stakeholders who will be involved in the requirements elicitation process. Plan the elicitation process. Develop a plan for how you will gather requirements. Conduct background research. Before engaging with stakeholders, gather relevant information about the project and domain. Schedule and conduct interviews. Set up one-on-one interviews with stakeholders to understand their perspectives, needs, and expectations. Facilitate workshops. Organize workshops or group sessions to bring stakeholders together for collaborative discussions. Perform observations. If possible, observe users or stakeholders in their working environment to gain insights into their tasks, challenges, and behaviors. Analyze existing documentation. Review any existing documentation, such as business processes, system diagrams, or user manuals, to identify potential requirements or gaps that need to be addressed. Prototype and visualize requirements. Create prototypes or visual representations of the proposed system or features. Document and prioritize requirements. Consolidate all the gathered requirements into a structured document. Validate and verify requirements. Share the requirements document with stakeholders for review and validation. Iterate and refine. Based on the feedback received, refine and update the requirements document. Obtain formal approval. Once the requirements have been refined and validated, seek formal approval from the appropriate stakeholders. There are plenty of techniques available for gathering requirements. We can choose the appropriate one or more techniques based on the business scenario and the situation. Let us go through these techniques. Interviews. Interviews are used to ask questions of stakeholders to uncover needs, identify problems, or discover opportunities. Brainstorming. Brainstorming is typically used to generate many ideas from a group of stakeholders in a short period and to organize and prioritize those ideas. Observation. Observation technique is used to gain insight about how work is currently done, possibly in different locations and in different circumstances. Interface analysis. In a typical project about integration of two systems, this type of technique is used to understand the interaction and characteristics of that interaction between two systems, such as two systems, two organizations, or two people or roles. Business rules analysis. It used to identify the rules that govern decisions in an organization and that define, constrain, or enable organizational operations. Data mining. Data mining helps to identify relevant information and patterns. Data modeling. Data modeling using ER diagrams is used to understand entity relationships during elicitation. Benchmarking. Comparing a specific process, system, product, service, or structure with some external baseline, such as a similar organization or baseline provided by an industry association. Market analysis. It is used to determine what customers want and what competitors provide. Concept modeling. Concept modeling is used to identify key terms and ideas of importance and define the relationships between them. Document analysis. It is used to review existing systems, contracts, business procedures and policies, standards, and regulations. Process analysis. Process analysis is used to understand current processes and to identify opportunities for improvement in those processes. Almost all requirement elicitation techniques require elaborated documentation to facilitate clarity of business and process understanding. The most common documentation technique for software project includes writing use cases and user stories, which is a more common format in agile development. Let us go through various documentation techniques and approaches. Use cases and scenarios. Used to model the desired behavior of a solution by showing user interactions with the solution to achieve a specific goal or accomplish a particular task. User stories. Used to specify requirements as a brief statement about what people do or need to do when using the solution. Acceptance and evaluation criteria. Used to represent the acceptance and evaluation criteria of attributes of requirements. Business capability analysis, used to represent features or functions of an enterprise. Business model canvas, used to describe the rationale for requirements. Business rules analysis, used to analyze business rules so that they can be specified and modeled alongside requirements. Concept modeling, used to define terms and relationships relevant to the change in the enterprise. Data dictionary, used to record details about the data involved in the change. Details may include definitions, relationships with other data, origin, format, and usage. Data flow diagrams, used to visualize data flow requirements. Data modeling, used to model requirements to show how data will be used to meet stakeholder information needs. Decision modeling, used to represent decisions in a model in order to show the elements of decision-making required. Functional decomposition, used to model requirements in order to identify constituent parts of an overall complex business function. Glossary, used to record the meaning of relevant business terms while analyzing requirements. Interface analysis, used to model requirements in order to identify and validate inputs and outputs of the solution they are modeling. Non-functional requirements analysis, used to define and analyze the quality of service attributes. Organizational modeling, used to allow business analysts to model the roles, responsibilities, and communications within an organization. Process modeling, used to show the steps or activities that are performed in the organization or that must be performed to meet the desired change. Prototyping, used to assist the stakeholders in visualizing the appearance and capabilities of a planned solution. Roles and permissions matrix, used to specify and model requirements concerned with the separation of duties among users and external interfaces in utilizing a solution. Root cause analysis, used to model the root causes of a problem as part of rationale. Scope modeling, used to visually show a scope boundary. Sequence diagrams, used to specify and model requirements to show how processes operate and interact with one another, and in what order. Stakeholder list, map, or personas, used to identify the stakeholders and their characteristics. State modeling, used to specify the different states of a part of the solution throughout a life cycle in terms of the events that occur. Let us look at all the preparation and groundwork to be completed to prepare ourselves to writing a good use case. Identify all the different users of the system. Create a user profile for each category of user, including all the roles the users play that are relevant to the system. Goals and agenda for each role. Identify all the significant goals the users have that the system will support. Scope of the change. Create a use case for each goal, following the use case template. Structure the use cases. Review and validate with users. Let us look at what all we need to include in a good use case document. In the end, I'm sharing a good use case template which will be helpful to understand this further. Scope of the change. Total number and forms of output for the activity. What other representations the activity results will support. How the output integrates into what is already known. Who provides the information? Who will use the information? Will the information will be used? Anything that must change to meet the business need. Anything that should stay the same to meet the business need. Missing components. Unnecessary components. Any constraints or assumptions that impact the components. I have included a Word document template for writing use cases. This document describes the template and the information to be included in each section. Use this template for gathering requirements in the form of use cases. It is quite comprehensive and covers all aspects of a good use case. Apart from all the techniques listed here, there will always be project-specific needs that must be understood and elaborated in the context and business scenario of the project. As an example, a typical information that you may need for a project that involves integration between two or more IT systems may require the following additional data. Enterprise integration patterns to be used. Routes to be taken. Data transformation requirements. Mediation. Enrichment of data. Validation of data. Interception of data. Components and their uniform interface to connect with other systems. Thank you for attending this training session.